1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're back with the TMCJ podcast. We're on episode 10 now.
Ooh.
We've hit the double digits.
We are 10, indeed.
Who'd have thunk it would go this long?
Mm-hmm. Who'd have thought we would put up with this each week this long? Yeah.
I think we have kind of established at this point that, I don't know, it is something that we both look forward to. That being said, today's episode, in terms of structure, is probably going to be a bit more low effort than the last few weeks have been.
Janky as fuck is a special celebration of our 10th episode.
We're going to go back to the original format of this podcast where we just sort of rambled around with a vague idea what we were going to talk about.
As if we don't do that every week.
Yeah. I did write two things down for topics, and they're both shit.
Okay. Well, what are they so I can shoot them down?
So, the first one, I wanted to talk about... Well, I just wrote down social media as a general topic, because even when I was using social media, thought it was stupid.
Yes.
But there's like a million different varieties out there that I've never even tried now, so I thought we could just kind of ramble on and chat about them. The other thing I put down was weird hobbies, and what I meant by that was like things that, like odd things that people collect, or that people can turn into a hobby that really shouldn't be.
God, my mind instantly goes to the worst things. Like people that watch My Little Pony when they're a grown-ass adult, that kind of thing is where my mind went.
The bronies. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. That was a person in... This might be a long topic, don't get me wrong. I'm not planning on talking about this long. There was someone in student accommodation when I was there that was this guy that was slightly older than me, and we'd have to eat our meals in like a communal area because we had it was the way that our student housing was set up, kind of thing. And every mealtime, he would be talking about the fan fiction he was writing of My Little Pony.
Oh my god!
It was a cross between My Little Pony, Doctor Who, and some kind of horror thing. It was frickin' the worst. So I would occasionally go down to dinner late just to get some peace and quiet.
Oh my god! I have a similar tale, although this was when I was in high school, and Halo 2 was the big game. Everyone was playing on Xbox Live. It was big thing at the time. So there were several people that I met on there, like Scott, Adam. I first encountered them on Halo on Xbox Live, and it kind of went on from there. But we also had like a couple other weird characters that would play loosely with our group, and there was this guy, I can't remember what his gamer tag was, but it was something, but I keep wanting to say it was Jack Black, but it wasn't. Anyway, he used to always come on and tell us about these anime screenplays he was writing, which essentially they turned out to be fan fiction, and one of my friends just either mocked him for it, or basically this friend had a very good way of just cutting to the bone like instantly. Just it's like, oh, that's really cool, can you shut the fuck up or something. Just basically just like build him up and then spike him back to the ground, because the guy, he was a fairly okay dude, but he was annoying as fuck. And one day he came on and told us about another anime screenplay he'd written where he gets superpowers and fought this friend that I'm talking about that just made fun of him. And it just became a running gag within our group. It's like, one day, I keep wanting to say Jack Black, so I'm just going to say Jack Black. One day Jack Black woke up and he had superpowers, and he used them to kill George.
Poor George.
And it just became like this long running gag. But I'd say similar thing, cringy, fan fiction.
I mean, I don't want to crush people's dreams of creativity with that kind of thing. I think it's a lot of creativity comes from writing,
Yeah, I mean that stones and glass houses and all that, because this
yeah,
is
exactly,
definitely
D&D.
D&D. But then again, this podcast, we it it was pretty rough in some of the earlier episodes. I like to think
Yeah.
we're smoothing it out, but with any creative endeavor, you kind of have to spend a little bit as a crap out before you can actually produce something of
Yeah.
any quality.
Well, what I was going to say is that you pick your audiences. I mean,
Yeah,
if someone's not interested in the podcast, for example, I won't talk about the podcast in front of them, and that's fine. I won't go on about it. If they want to go and watch it, brilliant.
Hmm.
But I'm not gonna subject them to something if they don't want to listen to it. Yeah, I think
God.
that's the big difference.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Like if I did a lot of writing when I was younger because I really enjoyed it. But there were very few people that I would actually show or tell about it, first of all, and only if they expressed an interest in reading something, I'd show them it, and I'd try to show them the good stuff, because I definitely wrote a bunch of stuff that was absolute ass.
Yeah, as
Oh,
we all do.
yeah, but that's how it goes. You gotta fail a lot before you can succeed, at least most of the time.
Switching over to social media,
Yeah.
I when I was growing up, the Facebook was very big, and I got Facebook originally purely with the intent of getting back into contact with someone who... It was when I was changing schools, and I was like, oh, in order to stay in touch, phones cost a lot of money to keep, texting people at that time.
Yeah, that's right. You only had a certain number of texts per month or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, Facebook seems like a necessary evil in order to keep intact. Other than that, I don't think I've really ever used social media in that aspect that most people use social media. That is to say, to share my life. I've never really bought into that at all. Never really done the whole putting pictures of myself online for mass crowds to look at.
Yeah. So, my first experience with social media is when I was in middle school and high school. That was around the time that MySpace was coming out.
Yeah.
Facebook had just started when I went to college, and it was at that point like exclusive for college students. At least in the U.S., I don't know about internationally, but I remember I had one of my closest friends from my hometown. She had a Facebook account, a MySpace account, and I remember looking at it and thinking, "This is the dumbest fucking thing I think I've ever seen in my life."
Yeah.
I refused to make one. She made one for me, and I never logged into it, never touched it. It just existed.
Yeah.
I did, however, when I got to college, use Facebook, and that was because it was a big craze there. It was a way that a lot of us at college would. We used it mostly as a tool for shit posting, really, just stupid memes, posts that made no sense and were really just out there to get laughs or something like that. It was never, but I never used it, like you're saying, to talk about my life and stuff like that.
I think vlogging is very... it's another thing. It looks really easy on the face of it, but I think you've got to have a lot of creative flair to keep people interested in a vlog or some kind of My Diary-esque kind of production.
Yeah, I feel like those types of things are almost like you practically have to be a practitioner of hypnosis, because there's like I've noticed the really successful ones, they have like this direct eye contact with the camera thing, and they have this certain cadence in the way they speak. Like,
right.
It's
You're not talking about ASMR.
No, I'm not talking about ASMR. I'm talking about vlogging.
Okay. because that falls
A-
for me under the same category of
ASMR is
dubious.
that's a whole different thing. For anyone that doesn't know, ASMR, I have no idea what it stands for, but it's essentially when somebody gets really close to the mic and just whispers into it.
Yeah, it's creepy. Just don't
Yeah.
use that.
No.
They make particular noises which are meant to be relaxing and it can send you to sleep, that kind of thing.
No, sorry, that just reminded me of it was a screenshot of a post someone made. It was somebody was saying to whoever the person is who released a relaxing noises for sleeping YouTube video and then put an advertisement right in the middle of it, fuck you. Because you think about it, you're listening. Say it's like a half-hour video, and it's supposed to be relaxing, and you're just playing it, and so you're soothed off to sleep, and then all of a sudden, halfway through the video, you just get this random loud advertisement.
Yeah, I think it's PayPal at the moment that I'm getting like every fucking video. I get that.
I keep getting the ads for that custom soap, or that
custom soap.
Yeah, the Dr. Squash's something soap. They make like all natural like hand pressed soap or something like that.
Right, I don't think that's I think that's probably an American only company.
Yeah, they're probably pretty small. But it's like artisanal soap.
Yeah, that kind of what's the word? Specified branding. What's the word I'm looking for? When the advert comes to you basically because it sees what you've been searching. I'm looking like a real idiot. What's the word, Kaiser?
Targeted marketing?
Probably.
Targeted advertising? I don't know.
Yeah. It's yesterday I was on Steam and Mass was saying she was getting a lot of like the same kind of game advertised to her, but she never really played that kind of game, so she doesn't know where it came from. But suddenly everything is recommending it.
God. Well, that could be like the game itself paying Steam to go like, hey, find me customers.
Well, no, it's not. I'm not getting anything like that. It was all like those anime story games, the kind of stuff that you've
visual novels. Yeah.
Yes, that's the one.
Interesting. It's funny because I don't get advertisements for those.
No, I mean I don't. I get. What was the first thing in my queue is Battlefield 4, which I have no interest in playing. They somehow managed to make that they'll give you 10 things in your queue which they recommend to you, and they somehow managed to nail every single day what I do not want in any possible way. They had freaking a football game up on my list yesterday. Like, if that's not paid by the football people to advertise on, I don't know what it is. Cause
let's see what my queue is. I've got Craftopia. It's a brand new multiplayer survival action game made in Japan.
That's big at the moment, just generally.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is after that. Then Squad, which looks like a 100-player FPS game.
It's a Sim.
Hades.
Hades. I think you bought that for me, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Star Wars Old Republic, Flight Simulator, Crusader Kings 3. A lot of these are just big games. Serious Sam 4.
Just AAA game. But I don't understand why Flight Sim's so big. Like, a lot of people are playing on YouTube, I don't really understand why.
I saw, like, I was looking to get a, so I want to get one of the 3000 series video cards that NVIDIA came out with. And I also want to get, like, a better monitor when I get that. Like, I wanted to get, like, a 140 FPS by 4K resolution monitor. But they're ridiculously expensive. They're something like $1,700 for a good one. You can get kind of a more mediocre one for around $900, but I don't want to pay that kind of money and then have it be crap. So right now I'm looking at 140 FPS, 1440p, which is, it's a 2K monitor essentially. And they're more reasonably priced, but I saw one of the top things on it is like, I bought 5 stars. I bought this monitor specifically to play Microsoft Flight Simulator and nothing else. I'm like, what? What?
Yeah.
What kind of like piece of cartilage does that?
Yeah, you're meant to load up like Halo Reach or some shit, not...
Yeah, something. Yeah, I'll play Doom Eternal at the crazy FPS. We kind of got away from social media here.
Wait, social media is the second segment, though.
No, no, no.
Well, no, sorry, media is the second
Yeah,
segment.
yeah. This is social
This is
media.
true.
Yeah,
Well,
we're in
isn't the
topics
first
right now.
segment normally games?
No, the first segment is topics. We've been doing this
Oh.
10 weeks and we don't even know how.
I don't know, we talk about games a lot in the first segment, generally.
Well, that's because the topics, I mean, we both play a lot of video games, so topics inevitably circle back to that.
You know that rando that we were playing with yesterday in Among Us?
Yeah.
Also, that game, big fucking game.
Yeah.
We had 9 people, 9 friendos.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like, only 2 people weren't in the call, too. Like, everyone else was... No, actually, I think
2
only...
people? No, 1 person.
Yeah, only 1 person wasn't in the call.
There was this one rando that me and Mass started playing with before everyone arrived. And we were trying to work out some way of getting him into the call, because it's no fun for the person who literally can't hear all the conversations.
Right, yeah, he's only got to go off the text.
Yeah, and we were like, oh, have you got Discord? I was genuinely surprised he didn't have Discord, because in my eyes, anyone who has a computer these days should have Discord.
Yeah, if you're playing any video games at all.
Yeah, but no, he was like, at the end, he was going, oh, have you got Snapchat?
Yeah, I saw
Why
that.
the fuck would I have Snapchat? Get out of here!
Wait, am I going to Snapchat my argument? Okay, sorry, that's a
Here's me
good
posing
transition.
with a filter.
That is a good transition. Snapchat is another social media app that I had a ton of friends that got into, and I couldn't stand it. I was like, this
No.
is just text messaging, but more difficult.
There's one friend I have in Canada who uses Snapchat that I occasionally Snapchat with, but other than that, I don't think I've ever really used it in any long-term way.
There are several social media apps that and that being one of them, that I made a point... When people finally talked me into using them, I made a point of using them wrong. So Snapchat, whenever somebody would send me one, it'd be like, a video or a picture and then some line of text. And I would just reply to the text and take a picture of like a blank wall or something like that. Or the ground. And then just so it would just be a text message with a completely uninteresting picture.
Well, that's the thing. With Snapchat, all the messages, all the text, all the pictures get deleted.
Yeah.
And if you're slow on the uptake, like I quite often am, if I've just woken up and I'm like, bleary-eyed looking at my phone, and it has a 3 seconds before a photo disappears forever, that shit ain't getting seen. And then I have to do the horrible thing of, can you send that again? I didn't actually see what it was.
Yeah, Snapchat... I don't know. It's just...
And... Sorry,
stupid. No, that and Twitter. Twitter's another one that... I've used Twitter twice in my life. Once was back in college. Jesse convinced me to get a Twitter account because he thought it was awesome and I should get on there, and
right.
I use it. So I made the account @BagOfDicks and got the account banned within a week.
Well, that's a surprise.
But later, I made another one. This was in like 2015 or 2016. And I used it for about 6 months, and I was extremely unproductive during those 6 months. It was just like junk food.
Really?
Yeah, I don't
What's
know.
that to do on Twitter? I hear it's like the social butterfly place of the internet.
So it's, how like sometimes you pull up like Netflix and you want to watch something, but you don't know what, and you're just scrolling through and looking at like the previews and stuff.
I do
That's
that more
what Twitter
Reddit,
is.
though.
That is exactly what Twitter is.
Okay. Yeah, I just go on the cute animals Reddit page and just scroll forever.
Yeah. I could see that. Oh my god. Yeah. YouTube is, speaking of social media, does YouTube count as social media?
Well, I use it as a TV, so...
Yeah.
No,
that's pretty much what I use it for as well.
Yeah.
Just like another
to pay
streaming
for
service.
a TV license, Jesus.
That's
Wait,
right.
Do you have TV licenses over there?
No, you guys, that's... Because you have a state-owned TV company, so that's why you have that. We don't. They're all private corporations.
Gotcha.
So if like for instance, I don't watch TV, so I don't pay for it. I could get a cable subscription, but I don't watch TV, so I have no reason to.
So theoretically, if I were to get like an American box, I would not be charged anything because it's not British Telecoms.
I don't know if can you even do that?
I don't know. Maybe.
I think
Have
like
they
even
broken
the
the system?
network infrastructure is owned by the UK government over there.
Right.
This
Maybe.
is something that we may have to do some research on.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, why bother when there's so much good shit on YouTube?
I
free?
did. The cable companies will occasionally do like deals over here because the internet is the only thing I pay for because it's the only thing I use. If I want to watch like a movie or a TV show, I have Netflix and Amazon.
You are heavily reliant on the internet.
Yeah, and so I have that, but I don't have. I have had a cable box before, but I never hooked it up because they did like a deal. If you get the basic cable box, they'll shave like $5 or $10 a month off your internet price. And so it ended up being like, I think right now for internet I'm paying something like $90 a month, but so it would be $80 for a year if I got the cable box. The idea is that you get the cable box and you hook it up and you're like, oh, but I want to get HD and I want to get this, and so they tack on a little bit more money. But I said, nope, I'll just take the deal. The cable box lived in my coat closet for a year, and then I returned it when the deal ran out.
Yeah.
I never even plugged the thing in.
Damn. That, I don't know. These offers sound like a faff. I hate those. It's completely free for the first month, but you've got to put in your bank account details so that when you inevitably forget that you've signed up for it,
Yep, then we can charge
for the next
you.
3
Yep.
months. Yeah, I hate them.
Yep.
Passion.
That's
why whenever YouTube pops up with its special premium thing without adverts on my phone, I'm like, nah, I'd rather just watch the odd advert. As much as I hate them,
yeah.
I'm just going to watch the odd advert because it's not going to cost me real life money, and I know I will forget.
Yep, I've done that before with a couple free trials. I did that with the whole Xbox has that Game Pass thing where you can. There's a library of games. You pay a monthly subscription, and you can just download the game and play it.
Yeah.
I did that
Yeah,
when
PSN
when we
got
were
me
trying
for
out
that.
Sea of Thieves a couple years back. I did that so I could play it, and then forgot for 2 months, and ended up paying $30 for a service I wasn't using.
You basically pay for the whole game, and then you don't have the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, same with the PlayStation Network. I used to love the PS3. Like, oh, it was so good. Free internet, alright? It wasn't like the Xbox 360 where you had to pay for the internet. Nope. Every month you didn't have to worry about that shit. If you bought the console, which was more expensive, don't get me wrong, then you don't have to worry. It's peace of mind I was paying for. But then they moved to the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, they
and
moved
they
to
were
that.
like, clearly Xbox has got the right fucking idea. Let's charge everyone out the ass every month instead, which is when I stopped playing consoles.
The Xbox Live though, they have moved towards giving you something else, like some extra stuff. So like if you still have to get the subscription to play online, and I have it, but one of the things they started doing was that if you have Xbox Live, then you get 2 free games every month.
Yeah, they did it on PS4 as well, but like, look at Epic Games Store. You don't have to pay shit for that, and you get a free game every week, and there are some damn good games on that.
I know it's an arms race. The Epic's trying to compete with Steam, but also with the console sales.
Yeah. Speaking of, I assume Jesse's been harassing you to get Rising Storm Vietnam as well.
I don't know why. I think I already got it.
Oh.
Like he told me to get here. Rising Storm Vietnam 2. I have it and it's installed. He told me to get it back in July and I got it. It's installed on my computer. So when he sent that, I'm like, yeah, I already own it.
Maybe you should just play it.
I guess it's probably something I should do.
Yeah, he was pretty stoked that it was coming free. He was
by the way,
all but threatening me to get it.
Rising Storm Vietnam, for It's a video game shooter, obviously set in Vietnam. It's
No.
one of those like hyper realistic first person shooter video games. Um,
Is it?
I think it is.
Realistic.
It seemed like that. From I watched Jesse play it, and that seems like what it was.
It looked very COD-like to me. I don't know if it's like hyper realistic. In my mind is another word for milsim.
That's yeah. It struck me much closer to Arma than to COD.
Milsim being military simulator, by the way, like a game that's where you have to do everything, even the really boring stuff, really meticulously before you can actually go and do the fun stuff, which might be like half an hour apart from one another.
Yeah.
Yeah, simulator to me has become a bit of a curse word because it's just an excuse to put a bunch of pad time between actual fun activities.
Yeah, the comparison that I always loved from Zero Punctuation, the video game review show,
Guru.
is I said review, but it's the simulators always seem kind of like model railways, right? Like some kind of a hobby that you spend hours and hours working on, and you just like it's meticulous and boring, but I don't know where I was going with that.
But it looks cool. No, I get what you mean. It's like Minecraft, alright?
Yeah.
You don't... Generally, if it's just one person playing it, they'll make something cool and they'll be like, right, that's that done. If there's multiple people playing it, it becomes a challenge to make something cool that other people also appreciate. And that's what gives it the replayability, I think. Don't get me wrong, there are simulator games that I have very much enjoyed. You know how much I played Car Mechanic Simulator, which is a real, like, surprise hit for me because I don't really like cars. So playing Car Mechanic Simulator seems like something just way off left field. Like, I'm just surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did, and it is boring. Beyond no doubt, it's not an exciting game, but I did get a very real sense of
Accomplishment.
Yeah, like when you finished like an amazing piece of artwork or something, and you step back and you look at it and you're like, "Damn, I did a good job." Even
a puzzle
though it means
or a
nothing.
model kit or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Or just like making a really nice looking meal or something, and it's just something you can look at, appreciate for a couple of seconds, and then move on with your life. Despite the hours it took you to make it.
Yeah. I mean, I can get behind that. Especially when you compared it to cooking, because I could just have pre-made meals or go out to eat or order out, but I really enjoy like the satisfaction of taking the time, making something like that looks and tastes amazing, even if it takes me twice as long as making something a lot more simple.
I mean, there is a cooking simulator out there. I have just woken up, right? Forgive me. But I don't think I'd ever play a game like that, because cooking is something that I could readily do myself in real life at any time.
And you have to, and you don't get to eat it if it's on the computer.
Exactly, and it looks a bit fake, and the controls are always janky as hell. Like, if I'm gonna do something crazy cooking-wise, I'll look up a Life of Boris video and be like, right, I'm gonna try and recreate this. And if it tastes horrible, then it tastes horrible, but I'll know for future, and I will have progressed myself in some way. Also, when I tell this story later, it won't sound like I'm a complete nerd. Yeah.
But I guess it's different from other somewhat simulator-like games like Farming Simulator, right? You're not going to go out and buy a giant farm and a combine harvester and
Yeah.
go out and do that. So it gives you the chance to kind of see or experience that. Although, God, those games are not.
I mean, to be fair, I live in like a farming area, so I could probably get a job in a farmyard place.
That's true.
Possibly. But yeah, no, I wouldn't want. I don't want to deal with like rain. Going to a daily job and having to put up with rain and shit. I can deal with it in a game just about, but fuck me.
Oh my God. I guess one of the other ones, see the ones that are more up my alley are games like Elite Dangerous. That's like, it's far future space trucker simulator essentially.
Elite Dangerous is based on one of the original PC games. Like one of the I can't say original many more times, but one of the first ever games was a game called Elite, where you piloted this like framework of a spaceship, and I think my dad played it when he was young. So yeah, I was very much tempted by Elite Dangerous when it came out, but at the same time, I think it was around the time that No Man's Sky came out, and that was just pretty awful.
It was a shit show. I have Elite Dangerous for the PC and for the Xbox, and I have to say I do like playing it with a controller better. But it isn't. It's a game, but it's also like I don't know, Euro Truck Simulator or something like that. It takes up a good amount of time. It's very simple tasks, and it takes you a while to build yourself up to the point where you're actually doing anything cool. For a while, you're just hauling freight from star system to star system.
Yeah, I mean that could be quite pretty damn chill. There's a lot of moving cargo games these days. I mean, there was that Super Konami. What's the thing where
you're talking about Death Stranding?
Death Standing, yeah.
No, Death Stranding.
Oh, Stranding. Okay.
It's the one where you play as the dude with an enormous backpack who walks places.
Yeah. The pizza delivery boy of the aftermath.
Post-apocalypse,
yeah.
Oh.
But speaking of spaceship games... Okay, go on.
I was just going to say, this is going to probably be the last point before we end segment 1, because we're at 32 minutes right now.
Getcha.
But go on, space games.
I was going to say, speaking of space games, you seem to be into them a little bit at the moment with Star Wars Squadron.
Yeah, I picked it up yesterday. It was a game that I wasn't sure I was going to pick up. I was going to get, because, I mean, it's a new Star Wars game, and it's published by EA, which pretty much means it's got everything against it.
Microtransactions?
No, there are none of those. That's the weird thing. I haven't tried the multiplayer yet. The campaign is, pretty fun, if a bit predictable.
Yeah.
But the it's got a fairly simple gameplay style. It's just dogfighting essentially. Mm-hmm. But there are enough varieties of little fighter ships, and you can customize them all. So there's enough variety to keep it interesting. And once I finish the campaign, I am going to try the multiplayer because I think it looks like it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It also supports VR, so I may try that at some point. But yeah.
Does it? Is it like the old Star Wars Battlefront 2 space mechanics?
No.
Okay.
It's more clean and polished than that. So it's also entirely first person. Like, you're entirely inside the ship. There's no third person camera. But it feels good. It feels clean. Like, if you like that dogfighting kind of kind of mechanic,
non-meta because you're not in third person.
Yeah, so it's got that and that first person thing is one of the reasons I really want to try the VR version of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it should be interesting.
Yeah. That was kind of one of the reasons I don't know if you remember, but I always used to play PlayerUnknown's Battleground in first person mode because I hated that someone could stand behind a corner and tilt their camera so that they could look around the corner without actually peeking around the corner, if that makes sense.
Well, I switched back and forth. I used third person
Hmm.
when I wasn't in a fight, but the moment I got into combat, I'd switch to first person because it was easier to shoot.
Yeah, well, but they released the mode where everyone has to be in first person was my
Yeah,
point. Um,
I played that one a lot more, but it depended because there were only certain people that played it that really enjoyed that mode.
yeah. And oh shit! Wait, that was our last topic, wasn't it? I was
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
start talking about PubGit and the
We're
changes that it made.
God, yeah, we're gonna go off on the weeds again, but we'll wrap up segment one there. Yep, come to the end of segment one, which is topics. Depending on when you're listening to this, you'll either hear us again in a few seconds or a few days. But either way, thank you for listening.
Why are you counting it? It's part
Oh,
two.
fucking hell, whatever. Welcome back to the TMCJ podcast. We are on to segment two, media, and I am already fucking up the intro.
Yeah, and I'm high on coffee.
Oh my god. Me having
Great
my
world.
non-caffeinated herbal tea.
Like an old man.
I don't know. I love this stuff. I already bought another case of it that's going to be coming soon.
Yeah. You're more English than I am, I think.
I
I mean, I drink coffee, which you don't.
Yeah.
Wait, do you drink coffee?
No, I've only drank coffee twice in my life. Once
Right.
when I was really young, and my parents were having some, and I just decided to try it. I hated it.
Yeah. I feel like it's more American.
It probably
Maybe
is.
that's because it's
Well,
attachments to Italy.
it's funny. You say it's more the other time I drank it was on the business trip I took earlier this year to Japan.
Right.
For the audit, like we were out in kind of rural Japan. They don't get a lot of
Oh, not Japan again.
well, just no. They don't get a lot of visitors from outside of Japan, or at least
Yeah.
outside of Asia in general, because they specialized mostly the business we were going there to look at specialized mostly in doing stuff within Japan,
Right.
and so they served all of us coffee, and they were I don't want to say proud, but they're like, oh, we got you American coffee, and they were like, because they just assumed that that's what all Americans drank, and that
Yeah.
would be so. And American coffee is actually a blend of coffee in Japan, and they mean like U.S. American, and it's essentially just very strong black coffee.
Yeah.
So I drank that, but honestly, just to be polite. And oh my god, was it heavily caffeine? Because I don't drink coffee, so that much caffeine, I could see my pulse in my eyeballs.
Yeah. Holy shit.
God.
Man. Well, talking of drinks, actually. Well, okay, this is meant to be the media.
It's the media
section,
segment. I do have things to talk about, but
but yes, we do.
So two things that I did this week. I started and didn't finish yet watching the 3 original Lord of the Rings movies, the extended cuts, which
Yeah.
holy shit, each one of those is like 4 hours long.
Really?
Yeah, the extended cuts are like seriously when they say extended, like the first one I think clocks in at like 2.5 hours in the normal version, but the extended cut is close to 4. The second one is like right around 4, and the last one is like 4 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I haven't finished the last one yet, but I have been rewatching the movies. It's been quite a long time since I've seen them.
Wait, so is there like the raiding of the Shire and stuff? Do you see all that?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't remember them going back and talking about the Shire at all. But there are like some extra scenes with some side characters. There's some longer conversations, more like context and world building, essentially,
Yeah.
that aren't necessary to the plot, but they kind of add to the
Yeah.
whole world.
I think I've said it before because when we watched movie night, which we need to talk about by the way, but we've seen quite a few of these extended cut films, and I really like in an audio, in a book, I always like the full version with everything, all the small details.
Yeah.
In movies, I generally prefer the cut down version.
Yeah, I mostly on board with that. For some reason though, the Lord of the Rings stuff, it just because of how extensive the books were, and I didn't realize that. I saw the movies before the books. I was never like into
Yeah.
Tolkien or anything when I was younger. I did see the movies with my friends when they came out, but I never read the books until honestly just a couple of years ago. I listened to the audiobooks for the first two.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just because of the way and how extensive those books were. I always it felt appropriate to watch the extended cut for the movies. But I will say it's a lot.
It's a journey.
Like each one of the movies because a while back on Amazon when they were on sale, I got the Blu-ray box for them, like the original trilogy for the extended cuts, and each extended cut is divided into 2 Blu-rays. So watching through, and each one is like at least an hour and a half, 2 hours. And yeah, it's an enormous thing. It's like watching half of one of the movies is now watching a whole movie.
Right. Jeepers.
That's why I still
I
haven't
don't
finished
think I've
it.
seen any of the extended Lord of the Rings. I feel like Lord of the Rings I'd quite like though, because I think I've always just been a massive Lord of the Rings fan in general, especially with they kind of reignited my, I was gonna say passion for it. That might be a bit of a strong word, but with the Shadow of Mordor,
Mm.
very good game.
Oh, God, I got that game years ago, and I never actually. I didn't beat it. I enjoyed the game a lot, but it was one that I never played the whole way through.
I don't think the story was really like where it was at though. It was just the idea of like basically making your own government out of orcs,
Yeah,
which was the fun part of it.
the subtle political manipulations that you can do.
Yeah, and they each have like their own characters, and if there's one that keeps getting the shit kicked out of him, and he keeps coming back to life with like another body part missing. Sorry, that sounds a bit violent to the people who are listening, but it doesn't look grim. It's just like, oh, this person, I don't know, you kicked him in the face last time, so he's got like a metal faceplate now, kind of thing.
Yeah, or even then, like later, can't you get like sleeper agents and stuff that you can get? Like you can get your little pet orc on charge, and then you have an inn or something like
so
that.
So if there's like a super warlord, and he has 2 warlords below him, which are like his toadies, if you defeat the toadies and I was gonna say enslave,
Install.
brand them. Wow,
Oh.
wow, this just sounds worse. But they're orcs, alright? You get them onto your side, onto your team, but they still pretend to be this warlord's toady, so that when you go and fight the super warlord, they stab him in the back. It's very...
There's a lot
very
of
cool
subtlety
looking.
and strategy in the game that I think elevates it above the kind of generic open world thing that it. The other thing I really liked about the game, because it is open world, but it's not a very big open world, and I think that kind of adds to it. Like everything you need to get to, it's all very tight and compact. Like it feels more packed with content, whereas like you see some open world games, they're like, bragging that they have like 100 square miles of stuff in the game, but most of it is just filler. All that really means it just takes you longer from get to point A to point B.
There were bad parts of the game, and unfortunately, it was one of the bad points that EA decided to expand on. I don't think the second game was very good, but the first game definitely top notch. Which was the dwarf. I can't remember his name. He annoyed me, and he just gave really boring hunting quests. And it was just always the next level of creature up. So it would start with a regular wolf, then it'd go to a mega wolf, then it'd go to a troll, then a mega troll, then they were just boring.
It's like, can I just hunt the last one and and never talk to you again?
Yeah, I don't want to deal with the wild animals. I want to deal with the politics.
Yeah. But
and yeah, they chose to expand it into a big DLC, and it was,
yeah, not really a thing.
hmm.
There's a few games like that where they. That's always the tricky bit with the whole open world thing is they've got if they've packed the game with so much different stuff and a ton of people liked it, they're like, oh well, when we expand it, they might expand it in a direction that like 80% of the audience didn't like or something like that.
Yeah.
It's always the risk with packing so much crap into your game.
Yeah. But returning to the media segment. Oh wait, is there anything else Lord of the Rings based you wanted to mention?
No, there was there are so many actors in it that
Yeah.
I didn't know at the time because this came out in like 2000. It was 2001, 2002, and 2003 was when the three movies came out.
Yeah.
And excellent for the time. Some of it's some of the CGI. I'm looking back at it, I'm like, okay, that's a little iffy. But again, it was early 2000s.
Yeah. To this day, I don't think anything has really come out that tops either Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. Like that was a golden age.
Yeah, of those, the original stuff. It's absolutely gorgeous. The writing is excellent. Like the inner character, like dialogue, like they were written well, and just like they're. You know how sometimes you're watching a movie and you see two characters and they get into a conflict purely because it seems like whoever was writing the story was like, we need some drama here. That doesn't really happen in these movies at all. Whenever there's like an inner character conflict or where they're talking with each other and it looks like something bad is going to happen or there's a rift between characters, it happens naturally. It feels appropriate that those things are happening at that time, and then the way they're kind of meted out and then resolved all flows very. It seems very very well written.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. With a franchise like that, it's had so many games and like I think it's even had like Star Wars had loads of comic books come out about it, particularly around the Clone Wars and stuff like that. There's yeah, I'm waiting for the day that the new Star Wars / Lord of the Rings comes out.
I don't think well, Lord of the Rings, they're probably not going to be. The guy who wrote him is Tolkien's dead, right?
Well, yeah. But I mean, the new. That's something that can live up to their name.
I see what you're saying. Like, not necessarily Lord of the Rings, but like...
No. Because, I mean, Lord of the Rings and Star Wars are vastly apart. Like, one's magical and old, the other's new and scientific.
Well, in a way, but they're both... Star Wars more... I would argue Star Wars closer to space fantasy, rather than, like, hard sci-fi.
There is magic in Star Wars, being the Force.
Yeah.
But I see it as a shiny new Apple-like product as opposed to
yeah,
Lord of the Rings, which has like age and wisdom.
Yeah, mystical.
Yeah. But yes. Speaking of old-fashioned knights and swords and shit.
Yes.
This week's media. What's the word I'm looking for? Movie night.
Yeah, movie night.
Was Knight's Tale.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I watched when I was. It was, in fact, it was something that we had on VHS, and I remember not being old enough to watch it when we got it. Like years, I wasn't allowed to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I finally did get to watch it, I found it completely hilarious. Yeah, it's like what 2000. When did it come out?
I want to say it was 2000, maybe 2002.
I think it might have been before that.
Either way, it was a movie that I'd never seen, and even watching it now though, I thought that movie was amazing. There were quite a few moments too where I was laughing pretty hard at it.
Yeah, and it's got to the point now where it's like, oh, you can say that these days.
Well, yeah.
But it was just a funny joke, but the whole women, huh? Joke that happened throughout
Oh
it.
no, my God. There was a So to give a brief plot synopsis, the movie takes place sometime in medieval Europe, and it follows the tale of this group of three squires essentially who were with a knight, and before like a jousting tournament, he dies of some not really specified cause.
Yeah, midway through the tournament, he gets hit by pretty hard, and then he gets knocked down before the final round.
No, I'm talking. They're what? No. I'm talking about the guy that they were originally serving.
Yeah. He gets They were. That's why he said they just have to not be unseated because he'd already got a bunch of points.
Yeah. He'd already got a
Then he
bunch of
died.
points, but I'm talking about how he died. I think the exact quote from the movie was, "What are we supposed to say? He shed himself to death or something like that?" Because he'd like fallen asleep against a tree and just died.
Yeah, I think that was from a wound, but I could be wrong.
Okay, I didn't think it was from a wound. I thought it was just some
Illness, maybe.
random unspecified. It doesn't matter. Guy dies, and one of the squires who like really, who used to practice with him and stuff like that, decides to impersonate him and win the tournament, himself, right? And by impersonating the knight, but it's quickly specified that if he's ever found out that he's doing this, he's not of noble blood, and he's participating in a joust, then penalty is death, or something like maybe not death, but something very severe.
Oh, it would be death. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Death. Anyway, so it follows them as this trio, and eventually they add two other people to their little party there. As he goes through and becomes like this jousting champion, there's other conflicts along the way. Like they have to find a way to keep his identity concealed. There's other kinds of subplots and everything. There's a lot of really, really good side stories that kind of branch off from that main path. But it's very, very good movie. A lot of funny moments, and a lot of like heartwarming moments too.
Yeah, I'll never get past that scene with the meeting the father again is just so.
Yeah.
They did that so well.
Yep. Yeah, there's a family reunion moment in the movie that is just it's a tearjerker.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's
also it's sorry.
No, go on.
I was just gonna say also if you're not even into any of that, horse jousting is just fucking cool to watch.
Yeah, and they do a really good job with the stunts in the movie, like actually doing the joust.
Yeah, the shattered lance is very.
Yeah, although I loved that. So there was a bunch of trivia that I was looking up after the movie because I pulled it up on IMDb and I wanted to see. There were a few actors I vaguely recognized. I'm like, I know I've seen these people somewhere before. And while I was there, I was looking at some of the trivia, and some of it's hilarious. Like the sound effect they used for the shattering lance was actually the sound of a howitzer being fired. They just slowed it down. Oh, you remember when his helmet gets like crushed in the one scene? That actually was an accident.
Oh, really?
The guy who was coming at him like had his lance misaligned for the stunt and actually hit him in the face and knocked out the stunt actor.
Oh, fucking hell.
And so they decided to keep the cut and just roll with it because that was the coolest looking one.
Yeah, I mean, you can't imitate that very easily.
No.
Not that in 2001 at least.
Yeah, so that was the act or the stuntman really getting hit in the face with a lance.
Yeah, fuck.
Actually, going back to the Lord of the Rings, there's another bit of trivia I remember from. There's a scene, I want to say in the first one, where this orc guy throws a knife at the one of the main actors, and he's supposed to like dodge it in the script. Yeah. But the stuntman who was throwing the knife, and it was a real throwing knife, screwed up his throw, and so it was going right at the actor's face. But he used his prop sword to deflect it,
Oh.
just on reflex,
Oh, no.
and that was the cut that they actually kept in the movie because
Yeah.
because it looked so cool. But that was a real knife going at the real actor's face, and he used a prop sword to like deflect it.
Can you imagine how pissed you'd be if you like deflected a real life knife that was going at your head, and you're like, nah, we can't use that.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And as the actor, you'd be like, yeah, we need to
I'll
keep
be
that
like,
cut.
Mom, get the camera.
Find a way to keep that cut. But yeah, some of the weird like accidental things in movies, I feel like always end up being some of the best. Like, that's one of my favorite things is when I find out like a scene or a joke in a movie was either improv or accidental. Going back to A Knight's Tale, there's that scene where Chaucer is going out and he's giving this big grandiose speech, and then he stops and no one applauds, and then somebody in the background goes yeah, and then everyone starts cheering, but the reason behind that was because most of the extras in the scene were they didn't speak English, and so they had no idea if they were supposed to clap or not yet. And the guy in the background saying yeah was like the director or someone to try and get them to go.
Yeah, it made for a good scene.
Yeah. Oh, God. So, if nothing else to talk about that movie, I did have one other bit of media. We've talked about movies and games quite a bit. Book series that I've been listening to. So, given my normal restlessness with how things are arranged in my condo, I completely rearranged all my furniture again. I'm really liking this new setup, but while I was doing it, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to have internet while I'm moving things around because the router's going to be unplugged. So I'll listen to an audiobook. That'll be something fun to do while I'm moving. Just something to have on in the background and listen to. So I had this audiobook by Orson Scott Card, who I've heard his name before, and I know he's done like other books, but for the life of me, I cannot remember what else he's done. Anyway, the book is part of a series, and it's the first one in the series. It's called Earth Unaware, and it's like a not too distant future sci-fi book. And it follows so far it's following 3 different plot lines, or 3 different main character groups. One is this group of miners, like independent miner families that live out in the Kuiper Belt, like past Pluto's orbit, where they mine asteroids and send shipments back, and that's how they make their money. But because of how far out they are and how far apart everything is out there, they kind of have their own separate society where a ship is like 80 people and it's all families, and they have rules about you're not supposed to really marry anyone from your own ship or from like too closely related, because again they have a very small population out there. So they wait for other families' ships to come by, and then they'll trade with them, and occasionally do arranged marriages between the ships. And so it's very like, think like very very how do I put this? It's like sci-fi technology is advanced to the point where something as crazy as living on a self-sufficient spaceship way out past Pluto is something that's just normal run-of-the-mill for the working class, like an interplanetary ship is like a Honda pickup truck. And then it also follows this corporate ship that's out there testing some new mining technology and stuff like that. And then it also follows back on Earth this Special Forces Army unit. And I can kind of see how they're all going to come together. But what is found out early on is something is coming into the solar system, as something moving at a significant fraction of the speed of light and is heading in system. and they quickly come to the conclusion that this has to be some kind of technology, not of Earth, essentially.
I gotcha.
And judging from what the series is called, I think that it's probably going to end up being like humans versus aliens war, essentially.
Right. What was the series called again?
So the first book is called Earth Unaware, and the series is called The First Fornic War.
Okay.
Or Phronic War. I don't know. It starts with an F, and it ends with onic.
Yeah.
The First Formic War.
Formic.
Formic. Formic.
Okay. Well, yes, but that is an assumption that there's going to be some kind of fight then, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And they kind of allude to it throughout the first few chapters. But I really am enjoying it because it's a bit of a slow burn at the beginning, but they do it right. Like, they start off, like, kind of introducing these three disparate groups, and they do a lot of world building just by showing interpersonal dialogue and some of the things that they're doing and talking to each other about. They do a very, very good job world building, and they don't rush into, like, the action. Like, planets don't need to be blowing up in the first 5 minutes. Like, most of the first chapter is one of the younger ship's mechanics being scolded by the captain, essentially, for like that's literally like the first half hour of the book.
Because they're fairly deep into the social aspect of living on a ship by the sounds of it.
Exactly. And I really liked that world because it does seem to be a very well thought out and easily kind of understandable world that they've built up. So I'm really enjoying it. I've already bought the second audiobook because I know that I'm going to keep listening to this one, and I'm going to keep going after it because it's really got me hooked.
I still got to make you read Red Rising. I know I bring it up a lot, but goddamn, I got to make you read that shit.
Red Rising Hood?
Red...
I'm sorry, I'm just being sarcastic. What?
Wow. You who hates puns says something like that. For shame.
I don't... I'm looking it up now because I actually don't remember us talking about this. Red Rising. Darrow is red, a member of the lowest caste in the color-coded society of the future. Like his fellow Reds, he works all day, believing that he and his people are making the surface of Mars livable for future generations.
It's another sci-fi social thing. So society's been divided up into several different classes, and at the bottom of the pile, like reds and browns, and at the top there's like the golds, who are literally physically superior and mentally superior, I suppose.
That's gonna...
They get better education.
You know what that reminds me of?
Go on.
This is gonna be super nerdy, and if I doubt Duncan actually listens to this, but if he does, in 40K, the Tau.
Yeah.
They're like a society that have different castes to the point where the castes have evolved physical differences from each other.
Right. Are they all like the blue people, right? We're talking about.
Yeah, because they have the different castes, and some of them are more physically imposing. Some have like greater mental capacity, but they're physically atrophied and stuff like that. So just when you said that sounds interesting. I'm going to, well, in between segments, I think I'm going to add this to my wish list.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's something I can highly recommend. I've read there was a trilogy, which was really good, and then they kind of continued it, and I don't think the fourth book is as good, but then, your luck has to run out at some point.
Hey, we could talk about Mass Effect again.
God.
The trilogy was good, and then...
I saw Mass Effect just recently because of the bloody ship video I was watching before this. With a bunch of massive spaceships on it.
I was talking to friend Juan, and he hasn't played any of the Mass Effect games, but he just played Andromeda,
Yeah.
and it's the only one he's played, and he enjoyed it. And we were kind of discussing this, and I was thinking why, because now that it's been patched and they've fixed most of the glitches, the gameplay loop in it is actually pretty fun. Like, it's polished. You got the jetpacks, the mobility.
Polished? Andromeda?
Yeah, they've done a lot. Like, since
polished turd?
since it came out in 2016, was it 2016 or 27? Whenever it came out, they've done a lot to fix all the glitchiness. So the combat was always its strongest point, because it was very well polished. They had a lot of mobility. You could jump around with a jetpack. Like, the shooting felt like chunky and satisfying. But people who played the original Mass Effect games knew that they were there for the story. They come to this one, and the story is just a fucking dog turd. So I think that's what it was. Because if I were to play just that game and go through, I was like, oh, it's mediocre story, fun shooter, and I just would play it and forget about it. But because the story is so ass compared to the original 3 games, I think that's why it garnered such harsh criticism. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it had a lot to live up to. I think overhype is definitely a big problem these days, especially with the amount of social media, because you've got to advertise, but you don't almost want to over-advertise.
Yeah. That's because when you do that, that's when, because no matter if you like hype something up that much, it doesn't matter if it's a movie, book, video game, TV show, if it gets hyped to all high heavens, then no matter what, when people see it, it's going to be hard to impress them. It's rare that you hit like that perfect, combination of, this is going to be amazing, this is going to be the greatest thing you've ever seen, and then you actually go, and it is the greatest thing you've ever seen. That's so exceptionally rare.
Yeah. I actually get that quite a bit of movies when people are like, this is an incredible movie. And I'm always dubious because I'm just a cynical bastard. But there have been a few times where I've been like, holy shit, this is actually amazing. Like, I remember when I was a kid, and man, there's a lot of stories from my childhood today. When the first time I ever watched Black Books, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I was told, my dad came home one day, he's like, oh, it's a really funny series about an Irish guy that runs a bookstore. And to like 12-year-old me or whatever, I was like, that sounds boring as all hell. And then I watched it, I was like, oh my god, this is one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's almost better to just like underhype something. Just go like, oh, that's pretty good. And then you watch it and it was like, oh, that was great.
Yeah. I think it's the same for games as well. I think a lot more of my friends would have enjoyed Payday 2 if I hadn't played it like 1,000 hours of it and been like, it's amazing, you got to play it.
Yeah.
Because now no one plays it.
I think that, so this is a bit of a throwback, but when it first came out, I played a ton of Anthem. Mostly it was, I think the party we had, it was me, Mass, Yi, and one of Yi's coworkers. And the that was our 4-man squad for the most part. We played through it. I also, Juan had it, I think. We played through it with him. I want to say Raymond had it too. But it was a good game. Like, I didn't pay attention. There was apparently a lot of hype around it. I didn't pay attention to any of it. And so when I played it, I was like, oh, this is a lot of fun. You get to fly around and pretend to be Iron Man. Like, it was satisfying gameplay. The flying was a lot of fun. The mechanics around flying and keeping your suit cool and everything were simple, but like satisfying. It was one of those things that was like really, really easy to pick up and learn, but then, it was, I don't know, just, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, that was, sorry.
Yeah.
Around the time that Anthem came out, I think it was also at the time that there was another really bad. I think it might have been Fallout 76 came out at the same time. and so everyone was on this warpath. Anthem had a few glitches from what I heard.
Yeah.
It got the shit ripped out of it for having them. I liked the look of the game,
Well,
but
that was the other thing. It was absolutely
it cost
gorgeous.
Like it was too much money for me to buy a game that I know is glitchy.
Yeah, but I think it was, especially now if the game's cheaper and they're still doing it. I've got it installed and I've been thinking about going back and playing it again, just to fly around in the game. Because just flying around, and it made doing silly grinding quests actually kind of enjoyable, which is hard for a game like that. Anyway, I'm going off talking about nostalgia stuff now. We're at 34 minutes. Any final things you want to bring up for media before we end the segment?
I don't know. No, I don't. That's not been much. I haven't watched much new stuff this week, to be honest. Whose turn is it for the movie week next? It's yours, isn't it?
It's my choice. Yeah, I've got quite a few things that I've been considering. Now I just have to actually pick one.
Any cheeky spoilers for what it might be?
Well, okay, so there's a few. One of the ones that's on my list that I really love the movie, and I don't know if you've seen it, but the movie Troy.
Troy, no, I have not.
It's pretty good.
I feel like that's a fairly old one that I've heard of.
Yeah, early to mid 2000s, I want to say.
Yeah.
But pretty excellent movie. And of course, it follows the saga of the Trojan War.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, that's what I'm kind of leaning towards right now. Do really love the movie.
Yeah, I do like historical films, even if they are like mythos historical.
Well, that one, they don't put any mythology around it. They actually try to stay as historically accurate as possible, with a couple exceptions. The actual, mild spoiler for the movie, although this isn't really, the actual Trojan War it was a 10-year siege against the city of Troy, but
ending with the horse.
In the movie, they shorten it so it only lasts for like a few months. And
at the end of the 10-year, they shorten the 10-year war. Oh my god.
They make it out. There's actually they make a line, or they make a reference to that, the fact that they're doing that, kind of a little nudge wink to the audience in one scene where the guy commanding the armies, like somebody who's giving the guy counsel is like, Troy is well supplied and well defended. It's like they could hold out for 10 years behind those walls. And then the guy's like, there won't be a 10-year siege. And it's just like, it's just but it's like kind of a nudge wink to the people who actually know the history.
That he was talking about, like, they're just going to destroy them kind of thing.
Yeah, people who don't know the history would think that, but people who do, it's like, oh, okay, they're at least acknowledging that they're shortening it.
Yeah.
All right. We're 7 minutes over, so that's where we're going to end segment 2. Thank you all for listening, and you will hear us again. All right, and we're back with segment 3 of the TMCJ podcast. Now, we've kind of, in the last couple weeks, been using this segment as just kind of a overflow for the other two, which wasn't its original intended purpose. We've had a lot of ideas about what we could use it for, and so I think today I wanted to go with one of those ideas. Since we were talking about Anthem, there was a video, just a short YouTube video that Blue and I just watched in the interim between the two segments. And it's an older one. It came out around the same time that Anthem did, or around the time that all the trailers were coming out for it. The title of the video being if Anthem's trailer was played by real gamers, because you watch video game trailers and they tend to be just very idealized version. You could tell everything is scripted, even when they're trying to make it sound like they're real people. Like, oh, we got a guy up there on the rooftop Tango down. I got him. I'm aiming at his stupid stuff like that. Whereas this one, it's just like a whole bunch of like shit talking.
Whereas in real life, it's like kill steal.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, had you seen that video before, Blue?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. When that originally came out, I died laughing at it. Like,
yeah, is it actually true about the RNG thing?
What?
Is it true that if you
No,
got a
no.
collector's edition?
No,
Okay.
no, that's not true. But it is something that it seems like something EA would pull.
Yeah, like I can believe it quite easily. But so they did. That's okay.
So like in the actual trailer, they're on stage and they're like, oh, and here you can see that this person has joined from your friends list and is now a part of your fire team. In this version, it's like, holy shit, dude, stop with the fucking spam invites. I'm here.
Yeah.
And then they have all these just stupid things. Oh, that place is pretty cool. Let's, can we go over there? And the guy's like, no, it's not playable.
Yeah, I mean, mountains are kind of the go-to for can't go there kind of thing. That's why I like when Skyrim and stuff. When I was playing Skyrim the first time, I was like, wow, it's a giant mountain. It's a big rock with lots of little rocks on it. This is clearly a place I'm not meant to go. Oh wait, I am meant to go up there.
Yeah, but you could with Skyrim you could get your horse to like shimmy and sidestep up the mountain. But I think that's excuse me. The reason I wanted to start off with that video is it's a pretty good lead off to because we were talking about hype and the hype that goes along with TV shows and movies and things like that. Like whenever things are really hyped up, I almost wish that they'd have trailers like that, because that video made me want to get the game more than the actual trailer for it.
Did it? Really?
Yes, it did. Because it made me think of the golden age of Xbox Live, where it was just a whole bunch of people just playing through the game and essentially just casual shit talking instead of, I don't know, in the trailers you always get like the nowadays when you're talking about Xbox Live or when you're talking about most online voice chat games, most people aren't even in the voice chat. They don't bother with it because they're on like private calls, or even on Xbox Live when they introduced parties, like no one's in the actual public voice chat anymore. Or some people are, and most people just are off talking to somebody else who isn't even in the game. Which
or it's just like, as I found, well, it's always been a thing, but like I'm seeing it a lot on Valorant at the moment, is that you join a game and instantly, the old 8-year-old kid's like, has anyone got a mic? And then there's like a grumpy Russian dude who just calls you a faggot because you can't shoot someone in the head 50 meters away with a shotgun. There's some very real stereotypes in these kinds of games. I suppose is what I'm saying, but like they are real, and you do see them far more often than you see actual nice people. Because the nice people, dare I say it, nice people stay quiet because they don't want to cause trouble. That's
kind of what I mean. The golden age of like Xbox Live and the late original Xbox, early Xbox 360 era, that was when you had like tons of people online and they were all like chatting and talking. So the vast majority of people were, like you're saying, just normal people who were just talking. There might be some arguments or some shit talk, but it was to a normal level. The truly over the top toxic people didn't really show up there that often. And if they did, they got shouted down by everyone else, really. But now those are the only people that are still in the public voice chats.
Yeah. And it's not just voice chat, like the text chat as well. I was in a game of Heroes of the Storm the other day.
Yeah.
And it was a ranked match. And 3 minutes into the game, someone said, "We can't win this, give them the game." And he just spent the rest of the game saying like, "Easy," and "throw faster please," and that kind of thing. It's like 3 minutes into a ranked game.
Yeah, that's welcome to MOBA play.
Oh, it's crushing, because not only is it like, okay, we've now down a player because he's not going to actually do anything.
But you've
It's
got
also,
that guy demoralizing everyone else.
exactly mentally sabotaging your team, and so we got crushed. We managed to hang on for about 18 minutes, but from the start, it was you could see where it was going.
Yeah, yeah, and it's one of those things that guy is going to walk away thinking he was right, but honestly, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Mm. And so I shall be forever stuck in. Well, actually, I'm up to silver now, but I'm going back into bronze pretty soon, I think.
There was oh God, I can't remember what I was watching. But it was talking about CS:GO, and I like the fact that game still has the balls to keep friendly fire on.
What, CS:GO?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's actually quite key.
yeah. I mean, you get people griefing every now and again where they'll just, they'll shoot you in the head, or they'll just team kill and try and get just to piss everyone off.
Yeah.
But by the same token, if somebody starts doing that, everyone else can just shoot them. Or
well,
boot them.
no, they can't really, but you can kick them.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
If someone shoots you too many times, that person automatically gets kicked and reported.
Yeah.
I think CS:GO had a good way of dealing with that kind of thing, and I also, as you know, I love the report system for CS:GO because you actually get to judge people if you've been known for being a good player that doesn't get reported. Then they give you a little bit of power to be like, okay, we trust you enough to say, is this person cheating or not?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's also like one of the most hacked games out there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because in some way they're not thorough enough with their bans.
Well, and it goes now that isn't the game free?
The game's now free, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that right there is gonna cause a lot more of of that sort of thing to happen.
Yeah, I gave up on CS:GO not long after the whole free thing happened. Because it wasn't just like you get one hacker a day. You got a hacker in consecutive games, different hackers, and on both teams in some cases, and it just was not CS:GO is a fairly realistic-esque game in the visuals and even the way that the weapons fire. And so yeah, it took all the fun and the skill out of it, knowing that someone could potentially be a hacker as well, because it does demoralize you when you think, oh, this person's hacking. There's no more point in playing, even though they could just be playing very well.
That's the line too. Is like, is this because there's subtle things too. There's the wall hacks, which just lets them see through walls, and they could be decent at the game, but just that extra information that you're coming around the corner could be enough.
Yeah, the ability to listen in for footsteps is vital. But if you're really good at it, it does look like you're just looking through walls.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty vital in Valorant as well. Scott doesn't he doesn't use headphones, so whenever I die and Scott's alive, Scott's like, Blue, you need to listen for me and tell me when they're coming up behind me. I'm like, oh great, thanks Scott. While he's playing hardcore metal in the background of his.
Yeah, that's something I had to get used to with CS:GO when the two of us used to play it all the time. When we do the duels or the duos mode.
Wingman.
Wingman, that's what it was called. Yeah, having to actually listen in through the headphones, kind of like, okay, I hear some footsteps.
I love Wingman mode.
That was a lot of fun. Honestly, I enjoyed that a lot more than the main game there. The main ones were honestly kind of too long and repetitive for me.
Yeah, it did away with all the assholes and
I liked the shorter games, honestly.
Yeah.
I wish I'd probably play the main one a lot more if the rounds were actually, because I think it's 12, 13 rounds, 15.
I can't remember because I've been playing too much Valorant. I think it was 16
for the main
for a
game.
normal
Yeah, it's
game.
first to 16
and they
wins.
halved it. It was 8 for Wingman.
Yeah, so it'd be first to first to 8 or first to 9 or something like that wins.
Yeah. I think 8 was a draw, 9 was a win.
Yeah. Oh man, fun game, but could get very aggravating.
Yeah, God, yeah.
And for a game that like is prized around precision firing with rifles and stuff like that, I just always use the shotgun. And I got some
dirty looks.
This has just become a competitive gaming nostalgia. But
so something I was talking about before the thing I said I was going to keep it for the last bit of the podcast. COVID news in this country.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if obviously there's been a lot more strict lockdown. I think everywhere at the moment. I'm
here.
assuming it's the same in America. Okay.
Nope.
I think Mass was saying it's stricter in Canada recently.
Probably. We pretty much at this point, they're not going to be able to re-lock things down. People are just kind of over it.
Well,
and
they've made... Sorry.
What they've done is they've slowed down the reopening. So my state divided their removal of the lockdown into phases, and they were planning on moving into, like, they divided their phase 3 plan into phase 3A and 3B. They were going to go into 3B this month. They're now going to delay that until the second wave calms down, which makes sense. The second wave is kind of happening globally, everywhere but China, because they had their second wave a few months ago.
Right. But they've made it now so that everything is closed at 10 p.m. like all businesses. So everyone is going out to get drunk way earlier in the day. So me and E, we went for, I think it was lunch. No, it was an early dinner. I think it was I don't know, it was about 6 p.m. and we walked into this place that we really like. And while this guy was like showing us to our table, we had a random customer who was like, well, first of all, he was like, why is he allowed to wear a face mask like that? I wear a bandana, okay?
Yeah.
Because I always have, I find them comfortable and it covers my face. And he's like,
Yeah.
why is that allowed when I'm not allowed to use my shirt to breathe into? Like, he had his shirt up
Just over his face, yeah.
Yeah. And the lovely person who was about to show us the table was like, explained why. And the guy went back to his drink. And a couple of seconds later, whilst the attendant is like, I'm sorry for that interruption. Now let me continue. And in the background I just hear, why is he so tall? I just straight up ignored him. This drunk bastard at 6 p.m. Like, oh my god, I'm just trying to enjoy a nice meal. But yes. So it wasn't the best start to the night.
I'm sorry. Why is he so tall?
And but yeah, that being said, it was the last day of their, because some businesses, I don't know if they do it over there, they have they were doing 50% off all food for like several months across like so many places.
Yeah, it's a lot of, they do that to get more people in,
Yeah, keep the businesses running. And this particular establishment, their chain, they continued it on until the end of September.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the last week of September. And so we were getting our last like half price meal off. Oh, it was so good, really good food, and we had even got dessert because we were like, it's 2 large pieces of chocolate fudge cake with like this thick fudgy sauce and vanilla ice cream. 2 plates of that was £3. In fact, it was under £3. It was £2.50. I'm really sad I didn't go out more during that.
Take
phase.
advantage of that. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. You see,
after.
I was in normal times. I'm thinking of like a lot of chain pubs around here, like Fridays or Chili's or Applebee's and stuff like that.
All places we don't have, yeah.
Yeah, well, but you know what they are, right?
Vaguely based on the names, but
It's like think like a bar and restaurant kind of thing, but it's like a chain. So they're all kind of pretty much the same on
yeah,
the inside, and
like
they've
a spoons.
yeah, but less emphasis on the bar and more emphasis on the restaurant.
Yeah, I got you.
That they are very similar, but these places are more like they cater a little bit more towards like a family atmosphere
Mm-hmm.
or like young adult kind of. Those families and young adults are the kind of people they're trying to pull
Yeah,
in there.
like a. Have you been to a Harvester?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's exactly what it's driving. Go on.
Okay. Anyway, so they'll do things like on I don't know Tuesday or Thursday nights or something like that. Between like 3 and 5, they'll have half-priced appetizers as long as you order a drink or something like
Right.
that. So like if normally you get a plate of like buffalo wings and it's like $8, it's $4 on those nights, something like that. So and they do that's just a normal practice. That's not something specific to the lockdown or to COVID. They just do that to try and get people in the door, thinking that if they they get the cheap appetizers, but they'll also get a few drinks, and so they'll still make money.
Mm-hmm. Well, drinks are generally how people make are where places make the money because the food certainly at this place that we've been going to is generally like we get if I said like a side dish, right?
Mm.
How many side dishes do you think makes like a full dish? Because I'd say about two
So
two side dishes on average makes a
yeah,
full dish.
I was gonna say too. If we're thinking the same thing, like an appetizer, yeah.
Yeah. So there's this the place that we go has all these different like side dishes, but you can get 5 side dishes for £9.50, and that's enough to feed 2 of us.
Yeah, that's like
Uh,
that's 2 full meals for. Wow.
So we get like nachos with cheese and chilies on. We get chicken goujons. We get chips with more cheese and bacon on. We get onion rings and something else that I can't remember for £10.
Yeah,
Oh.
for reference for the people who don't know the conversion rate, that's somewhere in the neighborhood of like $12.
Yeah, it's about $12. But yeah, food over there generally is cheaper anyway. Like, there's more of a eat out culture in America than England. That's why it's like so rare to me, like to find something this cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that does kind of depend on where you live a little bit. But yeah, there's a lot more places to eat out. Pizza places, like takeout places, wing places, Chinese food. Yeah,
like
these.
you have breakfast places out there, but like,
Yeah,
apart from like the odd cafe over here, it's quite rare. It's very rare to have breakfast out, I would say.
yeah. There are cafes. There's places that just do breakfast, like those. They're kind of the chain places, like Denny's or IHOP. But then, aside from that, there are literally just breakfast diners.
There's even like obviously McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
Something that actually really frustrates me and a lot of people is that they have a specific breakfast menu, which as far as I'm concerned, there's maybe like one good thing on their breakfast menu. I just want a McDonald's burger when I'm going there at any time.
Yeah.
But like, nope, we can't do that. Fucking hell. That frustrates the shit out of me.
Yeah, I'm the kind of person that I'll eat breakfast for dinner. I'll eat dinner for breakfast. I'll switch things around. For the longest time, I used to think clam chowder was something I actually enjoyed having for breakfast
Yeah?
because it is a very heavy meal, and I guess it is more of a like a evening or lunchtime thing. But I'd enjoy like a really like cold day in like November or December. I just like hot bowl of like clam chowder and some bread. I used to think that that's a great morning meal.
I don't think I've ever really had clams.
Clams and clam chowder in particular are pretty big around here, just because they're pretty abundant off the coast of Massachusetts and Maine.
I used to have a lot of prawn chowder. I love prawn chowder.
I don't know. We can't really get prawns here. I don't. At least
really?
I don't think they're native to like the ocean right off our coast. I think
Is
we'd
it
have to
too
get them from
cold?
another part of the U.S.
Maybe? I don't know. Wait, are you higher? Are you more north than I am?
No, you're more north, but you have warmer waters than we do because of the Gulf Stream.
Right.
So that was
True.
I was trying to figure this because you guys have a milder climate both because of the Gulf Stream and because you're an island. We have a lower latitude, but we actually have a more extreme climate, hotter summers and colder winters.
Okay. Hmm.
Fascinating.
I'm just thinking about food now.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm starting to get hungry.
Mm.
I did had a breakfast sandwich today. Let's you know what? We're on it. Let's just talk about food. This morning I had a sandwich. I had hash browns on the side, toast with sriracha sauce and mustard, and then a fried egg, cheese, and salami.
Oof.
It was a delicious breakfast sandwich.
It's been a long time since I've had salami.
I've been getting like this because I've been at home and therefore cooking a lot more because I have time for it. I've been spending more money on ingredients now than I would normally. Like when I was barely ever cooking, I just buy things that were just middle of the line, kind of inexpensive, but would last. Like sausages, chicken breasts. I wouldn't buy nicer ingredients like specialty deli meats or things like that because or like fresh vegetables, like especially not lettuce. I'd buy things that would last, like garlic and onions,
Yeah.
and sometimes peppers if I was going to make a stir fry pretty
Potato.
quickly. But now,
Yeah. I
yeah.
can't remember what I was going to
Yeah.
say.
You're right though. I am now getting hungry.
Mm.
All right, but we this is just we've kind of petered off. The idea of playing that video and then jumping off into a discussion about it really only took us about 8 minutes before we started going off talking about competitive gaming, and then
Nope.
no, sounded like you were going to say something.
I was going to say, well, we kind of discussed most of Anthem in the previous one, so I don't think there was as much to discuss.
Yeah.
Also, I like to make the I tend to like to make the third section a bit more real world, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because we talk a lot about obviously media and games in the first two.
That's true. Yeah.
Also, yeah, that's something that everyone keeps telling me, even people who are not American, is about the whole Trump thing at the moment, getting Corona.
I mean, it's kind of par for the course. Tons of politicians have got it at this point across the world.
Yeah.
I
Boris
mean,
Johnson had it.
Yeah, and it's not like they caught it early. He wasn't showing any symptoms. They brought him to a hospital. He's getting treatment. He's gonna be fine.
Yeah, he's going to be... If anyone in the world is going to have good treatment, it's going to be the leader of the free world.
Yeah, exactly. He's gonna be fine. But
Yeah.
there was some irony though about him making fun of his opponent during the debate for wearing a mask everywhere, and then like the next day he finds out he has it. There's
Yeah.
a little bit of amusement with that, but
Some people are saying, like, if he does... When he gets through it, he's just going to be like, oh, see, it's not that bad. I can tough it out, and I'm 70. Oh. Which
Yeah.
I think is going to make a lot of people very angry. So maybe the White House staff will be able to grab his phone for long enough that he forgets before he can tweet out about it. But
oh my
who knows?
god, yeah.
Yeah. Also, I've not seen the presidential debate thing that happened the other day.
It was
But
pretty funny.
everyone I've spoken to have just said it was a child's fight.
Yeah, so if you can imagine, like, if you can imagine somebody like, I don't know, some angry, not angry, but some smart ass, sarcastic punk walking into an old folks' home And
Okay, so you walk into an old folks' home, right?
no, so some smart ass sarcastic punk walking into an old folks' home, and he just picks on the most senile person there for about an hour and a half. That's pretty much what it was.
Right. I
'Cause
take it Trump's not the old senile one,
no, in fact,
despite being 70.
he seemed to, yeah, he's like 74, but he was he had a lot of energy. I'll say that. And his opponent didn't.
Yeah.
And it honestly it made his opponent seem a little bit more sympathetic because it was like it looked like he was just bullying him.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, someone brought up, and I think it's a fact I can agree with. I think there needs to be more variety in the candidates.
Well, this is something that I've talked about with some of my friends here, like, quite a bit. What, like, why for the last two elections, all of our like finalists have been over the age of 70.
Yeah.
Like, Bernie was pushing like 80. Hillary was in her 70s, I want to say, or late 60s at least. Trump, when he got elected, was 69. Biden's 79 or something like that. Like, can we have them like do like a basic driving test or something like that before they can
Someone
even
who's
run?
Not in retirement presently.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. We for the last something changed after the last couple elections. Just the people who are getting through and making it through to the end are just they see the people who seem like the worst choices, like across
the people
board.
who have lived, I think, not extravagant but like extreme lifestyles. So obviously Trump with his business empire. I imagine people who are possibly like war heroes probably get through quite a bit. I don't know.
Not as much as they used to.
Yeah, I think. Well, obviously, there's not been quite as much of an extreme war in recent history as I don't know. I'd probably get shot down for that. But what I mean is, it's not like
well,
World
you're
War
right.
II hasn't just happened.
There hasn't been like a serious war between like actual equal powers since World War II. It just hasn't happened.
I mean, the Cold War, yeah, but you can't really have a hero in the Cold War because it's not.
It wasn't actually a war. Like, everything was like black ops and
Political.
espionage.
Yeah, there wasn't many boots on the ground, as it were.
Yeah, it was proxy wars and things like that. So yeah, that's true. You do have people who, like, there are active military actions, there are active wars going on, but a lot of the time they're not like formally declared wars. And if they are, they're against people who are just wildly mismatched. Yeah. Or they're civil wars with other countries participating.
And a lot of the British prime ministers recently have kind of been what's left in the bottom of the barrel, I think. Like, who the hell thought Boris Johnson was going to be like he was known for being a clown, basically.
Yeah.
And yet you still wanted him in? Like, Theresa May, she was literally voted in because the other person said something really fucking stupid, and so Theresa May got in by default. Like, since David I have a modicum of respect for David Cameron, and I think him stepping down when he did was actually a good call because much like, Churchill after World War II, he was a great general and he was the right person to have leading our armies. He is not the right person to be talking about, like, regional finance. Like, that's just not the right person for the job. So I think David Cameron stepping down when he did, when he's like, right, I cannot give my all for the whole Brexit thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna fuck off. Was the other right thing, but everyone's calling him a coward for it.
No, yeah, but I think that's true. It's like it showed a surprising amount of integrity to do that because he's like, I don't want to, like, I put this to a vote and it came up a way that I personally don't believe in. So if I can't, put my all behind it, I'm going to step down and, move on, let somebody else do it.
Yeah.
I can respect that. But
although, go on.
No, I was just going to say it. I've you probably know more about this than I do. I pay kind of cursory attention to what's going on in the UK and the rest of Europe, but not nearly as
interesting.
Yeah.
But ironically, though, I mean, I say I never wanted Boris Johnson to get in because it would be like it's just a joke guy basically. But honestly, if Jacob Rees-Mogg got in,
who is that? I know that name.
Oh, he's like the most British guy you will ever hear. Oh man, just everything about him. Even his kid's name is like.
I'll have to look him up after this.
Oh, I don't know. It's just so quintessentially, stereotypically British.
Oh, there he is.
I think it'd actually be a lot of fun if he was the Prime Minister.
Oh my god, he looks like the epitome of British.
But listen to how he talks. I'll keep rambling for a bit.
Well, I can't actually listen to how he talks because it'll come through on the podcast.
Oh, shit. Okay, yeah. But yeah, no, that's who I want to see because I think that'd be a great laugh. And he definitely speaks his mind. So I think that'd be good. But yeah, I've not really been paying much attention to British politics like super recently because it's been more interesting in America, basically.
I am listening to him right now. I muted the desktop audio so it wouldn't come through on the podcast, but you're right. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, anyone out there who doesn't know who I am talking about, just look up Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Yeah, that's spelled Reesmogg. What a weird fucking name is that?
Yeah, maybe it's Old English. Have you heard what his children are called? Hang on.
Oh my god. Yeah, so we've transitioned quite a bit in this. We started off talking about games, real versus hype. Then we went into talking about how people interact online, voice chat.
Just calling back very briefly.
Yeah.
One of his children's name, Sixtus Dominic Boniface Christopher Rees-Mogg.
What the fuck?
And Peter Theodore Alphege Rees-Mogg.
His wife's name is Helena de Chair.
Yeah, Marianne Charlotte Emma, Tom Wentworth, Somerset Dunstan. Oh my god, they're just all like.
What?
Yeah.
What?
You see why I want him as Prime Minister?
Oh my god.
Bring it back. Bring back the old ways.
The most British. Okay, yeah, that's okay. I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, we're coming up on the end here. Is there any final thoughts? Anything you want to end us off with?
What's? Did we have any plans for next week? There was something I need to ask you about, like for one of those sessions, because we were discussing the guest thing. I don't know. I'm still not sure when that's happening.
Yeah, we've still got to figure out the logistics for that. We need to find somebody who's both available and willing to be a part of this shit show.
So I thought you were heading to their abode to.
No. I was saying that it wasn't going to be possible because I would have to move all the equipment.
Okay. Cool. Well,
and that was last week anyway.
And yeah, I hope you're having better weather over there than here, because it's been fucking miserable the last few days.
Yeah. It's bright and sunny and kind of cool out today. It's perfect weather.
Fuck you.
Alright, we'll end it off there. This has been the end of the entire podcast, and the end of episode 10. We've made it a whole 10 episodes, 10 weeks. Let's see how long we can keep this going. But with that, thank you all for listening.
Bye-bye.